All right. All right. So, one second. Okay. No, sorry about that. So I decided to do a impromptu random live stream. Someone sent me a question, and the question was a collective of questions from, I guess, a group of friends. So they asked me, instead of, normally I would do these Q&A things that come in through the DMs. I'll just kind of respond, I'll just type something and put it out there. But this is probably a little lengthy, because they sent like 5 questions. So I just wanted to kind of see if I could just chop through them really quickly here and just be, do like a one and done and be done with that. Let that be. Now, I will say, I'm only one man amongst millions. So I can only give my perspective as to how I see this particular instance in these questions, with this. So like I said earlier, fellas, feel free to chime in. If someone is like, hey, Charles, I can speak to this question, chime in, DM me, and I will put you right on the stage if that's what you want to do. Other than that, I'm just going to do my best to field these questions and go from there. All right. So the question, I just got the questions in. I'm going to read them in a second, but I entitled this, why, her questions for the black man. She didn't say that's what it was. I just kind of summed up what the lady sent, and I said this probably would just make more sense. All right. I'm going to run through the questions first. Number 1. Hey, Katrina, how are you? Yes, pray for the brother. I'm going to try to get through this, Katrina, I don't want to mess it up. I'm going to try my best to get through this. All right. Number 1, why do black men cheat? Number 2, why do black men lie? Number 3, why do black men lead women on? Number 4, why do black men date and marry outside their race? And the last but not least, why don't most black men have their stuff together? Now, I said stuff. The lady said something else, but I said stuff just to keep it. But anyway, all right. So we're going to go on into this one. Now, don't try to shoot the messenger. I'm just coming to do my best with this. All right. Why do men cheat? All right. Why? And I said men because even though this woman phrased it as black, my assumption is she's really mad with this black man. So, but I'm just going to just keep it all the way open. Yes, sure, black men cheat, but most races of men cheat. It's not a black. This is not an isolated black man thing. Men in general, if that's their thing, men in general will cheat. It's not necessarily a color thing, if you ask me. But if I had to think of a few reasons, I'm gonna be nice, and then I may get into some stuff. But number 1, I think it's lack of contentment. When a person finds discontent in their relationship, some sort of way, especially if it hasn't been communicated, or if it has been communicated and the person kind of shoves it and pushes it to the side, then the person will tend to say, hey, if you're not listening to my pleas of what I'm trying to get accomplished here, then maybe I just need to go ahead on and do this myself. So that happens often. People will go and do their own thing. Then there's also the big obvious reason, selfishness. Wanting to have your cake and eat it too. Sometimes it could be nothing wrong at all with the relationship or with anything that the person is doing that's with you. It's just the person wants to be selfish and they want to exercise that right to step out and do what it is they want to do. Then there is lack of maturity. Sometimes, some things that we do as men, it just shows where we aren't in life. And that lack of maturity will just say, hey, that was a kind of a childish move to go and do something when we could have discussed it and worked through it. So a lot of times, people will do it and they go do what they do. Now, I ran through my first part of so I'm gonna keep you guys honest. The why black men cheat or why men cheat is like I started off with lack of contentment. They're discontent. Maybe they haven't communicated it. Lack of maturity, selfishness, and then there is lack in that of itself. Let's just call it what it is. There are some marriages that the woman is not giving the man nothing. He's complaining, he's fussing, but she's saying, no, not tonight. I have a headache. I got to go over here. I got to do this. I'm busy. Maybe Friday. And so I can just imagine, so this is just me. Let the fellas chime in. I can just imagine men getting flustered and frustrated with that after so many times of feeling, I guess, rejected as a man. And so one of the things where I would say most of us men, we definitely falter in the area of needing that reassurance. Men, in order for men, like, let's just be honest, most of us men, we evolve and we evolve in life based off of the compliments, how we're built up, how we are affirmed. So if we don't have those things present, we seek to find them in other ways. So if your husband or your guy, if that's what you guys are into, if that's your thing, if there's sexual activity happening and the guy is asking for it, but he's not getting it, he's going to find an alternative path route to get it. Make no mistake about it. Now, I wanted to make an important part to add, though. This is what I've all found, and I'm going to segue a little bit on this part. Men largely, I'm not going to say all, there's exceptions to all rules, but most men don't cheat to leave. They cheat to play. Women typically, if a woman finds herself cheating, she's cheating through the potential to leave. Only, I take that back, I have to say, if she's getting 95% of everything else she likes at home, but that one really, really important part is missing, she may come down off the hill and take care of her needs and go back. But if she has counted up the cost and this person, and it appears to have a better run at trying to just, I guess, open up herself to someone else, they do it, take the chance, and they go. Men, in most cases, this is why you hear men, when you have discovered a man over the years or in your life or currently that has cheated, the first thing comes out of his mouth is, it didn't mean anything. The reason why he says it didn't mean anything is because mentally the way we conceive it is, yeah, I may have been attracted to this person. I may have liked such and such about them. I may have thought this particular doing this could get me this or whatever I was desiring in this person. But in most cases, it's a venture at best. It's not what he's really trying to replace his home person for. 9 times out of 10, it's a selfish act. And in not always, it's not because he's not getting something at home. If we're honest as men, we struggle in the area of appetite and what do you call it? Appetite. And just, we have a vast palate. We don't talk about that a lot though, but women do too, but women may have a different reserve as the way they reactivate on it or not. But I know men, if we're honest, men like their crayons in the box. They like their different colors, shapes, sizes, whatever. They like their palette. So, that's a lot of times that's simply the reason why the cheating happens. It has nothing to do with what somebody's not doing. I know that's the narrative that's mostly always ran when the guy is out fishing for what he's trying to do. At least it used to be. Nowadays, men can just be honest. He don't even have to do all of the lying that men historically used to do. Now it's just, yeah, I like you, I'm into you. I'm what you think? I got a lady at home, blah blah blah. I'm giving you a chance to decide whether or not you want to play or not. That's the typical rhetoric that's happening nowadays. So that's that in terms of the cheating portion. I believe I leave everything out. But yeah, I mean, like you said, greedy. I forgot about this. Yeah, men can be greedy. We could just be carnivorous because we are carnivorous by nature. So the cheating portion can definitely come from being carnivorous. Certain, make no mistake about it. Then let's see, am I leaving anything out? I'm going to be okay. I'll just say this, and I'll sign off on the cheating question and say it to this way. I'll put myself on the chopping block. I have certainly been that guy who has sat in the seat of infidelity, and it's a conscious choice that we make. I always say fidelity is a product of integrity, and infidelity is a product of dishonesty. So for me, I went through a period a period in life where I thought dishonesty got me further than integrity. Just being honest. It's hard to explain, but at once upon a time, it seems like I got more results being the alternative version of who I was organically. So it's like whenever I was being the organic version, I just didn't get the results. But when I was being the alter ego and doing everything under that disguise, it worked out at that particular time. Now, overall, at the end of the day, it doesn't work out because it hurts the person that you're with, especially once it comes to light. The person that loves you, it hurts them. It destroys the trust. It changes the way the person looks at you. The rebuilding process sucks. So it gets bad. So, and I'm trying to keep this to the lady's question when she went on with the black question. And besides my own testimony in this, I'll just say, listen, some black men cheat because black men are cocky. Let's just call it what it is. Black men are cocky. Black men has had a certain stigma, if you will, if you get me, to brag upon for years that supposedly has set our culture male-wise apart from other cultures. I'm going to be clean on this one. But a lot of men feel like, listen, I wasn't blessed with this to just be here. I have heard people say this literally. They feel they were blessed. A lot of black men, I'm not saying that doesn't all black men, it doesn't mean every black man, but most guys who feel that they are blessed in some way in this area or some sort of action or something they can do or whatever, they feel like they are the anomaly. And because they are the anomaly to not only to their own race, but to other races, they exercise that right. And they go outside and they do what they do. And when I say that right, their own right to do them, I guess. But that's that. So that's, if we're just honest, that's the truth there. All right. Now, I'll leave the cheating part and I'll move to why the black men lie. Again, these are all my perspectives. Fellas, chime in if you got different perspectives. But me personally, I think black men in particular lie because a lot of times we feel women can't handle our raw truth. Like if we told you really what we were thinking about you, about some of the things you request, about some of the ways you think, or some just period. If we dance around on eggshells a lot because for the larger, bigger picture, we're trying to keep the peace. So sometimes I know it sounds dysfunctional, but for some men, keeping the peace is withholding some of the truth. That's just what it is. They feel like if we give it, there's going to be kickback, there's going to be recompense to deal with, and it's just a lot. So a lot of times it just be a lot to deal with. So you just like, yeah, I'm just going to go ahead on and pass on telling this part. Now, women will tell you, you'll be hard pressed to find a woman anywhere, specifically a black woman, who won't say, just tell me the truth. Give me a chance to decide. And then when we tell, shout out to Bruce, when we tell the truth, Bruce, you know this, the minute we tell the truth, we get put on the cross as if we were Jesus Christ. But anyway, no, when we Fine 29 about to turn the heat up, she said she disagreed. I believe men can't handle the human response to it. That is very true in a big part, but I will tell you, it's not that we can't handle the response, it's the reaction we are trying to avoid. We know you're going to respond. We know what 9 times out of 10, when women are angry, you guys are going to hit straight to the cut, and you're going to tell us exactly how we are wrong, why we are wrong, and why we should have told you the truth. We already know this, but it's that reaction that most men try to avoid. When we tell you the truth, and then it's, oh my God, it's like we might as well call the police, ambulance, and everything else, because we already know once we tell you the truth, we know. And Michelle, you are absolutely right. We are glad that you guys hold the peace back, because I can promise you, most of us cannot handle the things that could come out of our woman's mouth. Believe it. We just say, leave it alone. I know it seems unfair, but it's just how we were created. But trust me, we can't handle it when it comes back. I can show you that. But again, the greater part, there's other reasons to the rule why men lie. But most of the times men lie because we feel that if we told you the whole truth, it would change the narrative. It would change your position towards us, the way you look at us. It would make you just it would just dampen the whole path forward going forward. And then let's talk about the obvious part. Sometimes men lie, it's not for good reason. They lie to fuel their agenda with you. Whatever it is they're trying to pull and get over, the lie supports it. That's one. Yeah, selfish. Yeah, selfish is kind of like the overarching for everything. But yeah, selfish for sure. Then you figure lying goes hand in hand with, if someone's trying to control something, manipulate something, the lies have to be put into it. If not, it's not going to work. So all of those things go hand in hand. But yeah, it's not a good thing, but it happens. But I would just like to believe a lot of the times, aside from a man trying to be slick and trying to get to do something or slide left, right, or whatever, most of the times he's afraid of that kickback that he feels he may get if he tells it. Oh yeah. Oh, all right, Bruce. Well, let me know, Bruce. Hold on 1 second. Let me see, Bruce. Let me see. How can I do this? Bruce. Hold 1 second. Y'all hold 1 second. Bruce is trying to dial in. Hold 1 second, Bruce. Let me see. I can't let this pass by. Let me see. Oh, okay. Y'all keep so, but anyway, yeah. So it's just that kind of thing where I feel like, I'm gonna give you an ideal scenario. But I don't want women to feel like, because I know what you're going to say when I say this. Why does it always feel like we have to do hoops for y'all? We are a special breed, us men. We're special, so we need special attention. But I'm gonna tell you how to get truth out of a man, and you would have less and less chances of him lying to you. If you said to him, babe, listen, I know your tail ain't perfect. You not this, that, and the other, whatever the case is, right? all you got to do, babe, is just tell me it's good. It's just me and you. It's all right. I'm not going to do you this way. It's just us. I mean, listen, this is an open, no judgment. This is a no judgment zone, judgment-free zone. It's just me and you. I'm your person. I'm not here to abandon you, walk away. I'm just trying to make sure we're on the same page so that our respect remains intact, so that, you know, I can still revere my man the way I want to. And at least that'll make him say, he'll think about it, because it took a lot for her to say it that way, so that he's not necessarily thinking automatically she's just going to cut him down. So it's good to, you know, to do it that way. I think it would help that approach, just coming to a man saying that first, I think would be very, very helpful. Bruce, I sent you the invite, sir, by the way. So if you get it, let me know. I'll click you in. But yeah, I mean, that's that. I mean, you know, like I said, men have been lying since the beginning of time. But I think most of the time men lie because they feel as though their truth won't get them in the door. Their truth ticket is not good enough to get them to VIP. Half of y'all have married men, have children by men, and been engaged and married to men who have started off giving you 15, 10% of the truth of who they really are, until your feelings kicked in, and then they slowly started either feeding you the other 85 to 90%, or you started finding out stuff that you started feeding back to him and making him confront. One or the other. I can make no mistake about it. And it's not because, again, I know lying is deceitful, but in the most cases, men do it because they feel like if they come to the door just telling you who they are, what they're, you know, I just want a partner to do this, to work with me. Oh, you don't have this together? Go on over there. You ain't good enough. You not this. You not a boss. You not this. So this is why you get all of those. Yeah, I got my own company. I'm working on this. Right now, I do this. Oh, yeah, I got this over here. I have this. Oh, yeah, I got this too. I got this big house down here in Louisiana. I'm just up here right now visiting Philadelphia for a few months to get my company up and going on the ground. You hear all of the stories. I got a record label. All of that. All of those things are to make you feel as though I'm a valid partner that you should consider amongst all of your options. That's just real talk. And we have Mr. Bruce. How are you, sir?
What's up, brother?
How are you, man?
Hey, look, I'm on 295, so my audio may be a little choppy.
Okay.
Okay.
So I know you got something brewing that you want to tap in on. Go ahead, Bruce.
I wanted to say that a man will lie to a woman. And I want to say, in addition to what you were saying, that if you are dealing with a man, if you are dealing with a man that does not have an active vision taking place in his life, I'm not saying that he gotta have mega churches. I ain't talking about that kind of stuff. But if he has a vision for his life and he's acting upon it, it gives him the confidence to be honest with you. But if he has, if part of his life is underdeveloped, if he has a little arrested development in an area of his life, but he is still presentable, he's handsome, he got a little job or whatever, but there's an area that is lacking in his life, he's gonna lie to you.
Yeah.
But at our level, and I'm saying our level profoundly, when you get to where we are in life, you ain't got to lie to no woman.
Right.
You tell her straight up where you are.
Right.
I'll pause right there.
Cool, man. So listen, what Bruce said really is the perfect segue into the next question. So remember, people, we've already went through why do black men cheat? Why do black men lie? The third question is, why do black men lead women on? So Bruce said something a second ago about the lion piece that I think ties into the response of what I was going to go with the leading on part. Of course, there is the obvious selfish, you holding me, you putting me on the shelf because you are still auditioning other potential people you may want to add into your mix of consideration without telling me. That's one part. But the greater part of why sometimes I believe men lead women on is because the man himself often don't have the direction or the plan for his own life. So it's like, unfortunately, you can be a male, you could be a grown male, you could be all of these things and look like you should have it together. But a lot of times you don't. And a lot of men will fake it to make it, wing it to be in it, whatever the case is, to just keep the woman there. And the woman is like, look, I'm this and this, and time is going by, and blah, blah, blah. Yes, all of those things. And so that can happen. And men in general, as we get older and as we mature, I used to say this before, sometimes when we get to a comfort place in life, it becomes, do you wish to have a mate? It becomes from you wishing to have a mate to saying you need a reason to have a mate because you feel content in your life as it is. You feel your life is, whether your life is peaceful, whether your life is working, however it is, you want to make sure that woman that enters your life is there, that has a plan to help build your life further, because you don't want to bring someone in to take your life backwards. So I think that's why it may appear sometimes that people are like, you got a stone wall up. No, it's not a stone wall. You just like, yeah, but I think most men, we know when we have a real one present. When you got a real woman present, you stop the looking. I mean, you may see people because you're not blind, but you stop the general looking for someone because you have what you need already at your side. What do you think, Bruce?
I agree with you 100%. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I agree with you 100%. I also believe that one way that you could tell if a man has it together, and he is leading his life, or hopefully he'll be allowing God to lead his life, but that's semantics. So if he's leading his life, he's going to seek to bring you into his world. But if you are the one that's established and he's trying to attach himself to your world, then that's when you're going to start noticing all those stone walls and hesitations and stuff that's just not adding up. Because his life ain't together. You just don't know it. But if a man is solid, he has vision, he knows where he's going, and he knows himself, then he's going to seek to bring you into his life. But if he's trying to get up in your camp because it's getting cold outside, he needs a place to sleep. And of course, he's going to appear to be unstable.
Right. And a lot of times, most men know that if that man transitions to say, okay, I'm not going to lead person X on anymore, then if he brings you in, now if all things that he is not, the light shines on it. So basically the jig is up. The jig is up now because you see that I'm probably not all that you thought. And so some men, instead of facing that reality, they choose to remain in the abyss. And they continue with this whole facade of just mystery man life. And because it works for them, So, it's tight and ugly, but it's a way of existence for a lot of men, believe it. Yeah. Somebody said, what age will they have it together? Unfortunately, you just don't, Michelle, you don't really know. It's like it's a case by case thing. But here's another sobering fact. Is some men fail to get it together and have a vision because they have been enabled the greater part of their life by their mothers, by their women in their life, by this one. Oh, they never had to want for this, everything, like all of the man things he should have risen to the occasion to do, it was taken care of for him. She was already done. You don't got to worry about that. Don't worry about working. You don't worry about doing all this. And so now when this man transitions from this woman to woman, he's not looking for a partner. He's looking for someone who's going to emulate mama's and the other woman's treatment of taking care of me. So when that person gets free and clear and trying to call himself getting himself together, he don't have a clue because he's never had to get it together. He's been taken care of forever. So yeah, that gets a little tricky. Yeah.
You know, and to go along with that, do you hear me?
Yeah, I'm listening.
To go along with that,
I can hear you.
I think what women don't realize is that manhood has to be instilled. You have to learn man things from a man. And the majority of men who don't have that father, or haven't had mentors or sports or coaches or whatever, they never had that energy implanted into them. All they have had is deposits of feminine energy.
Wow.
So the only way they get to express in their minds what is manhood is through their sexuality. So they perform in the bedroom and they feel like, hey, that's it, I'm a man, I put it down. You know, she hollering all over the place, so I did my man thing. Because most black men most black men really saw, the more I work with this men's group, so I'm recognizing more and more how much black men suffer from low self-esteem. And we create these images. Create these images. I still have my image.
Yeah.
My image name is Batman. I created that image a long time ago. And suffered from some of the behaviors you know what I'm saying, that came from that. But once you get your life going and you get your confidence growing and your esteem up, because I have principles that I walk in as a man, that keeps your self-esteem and your confidence up.
Yeah.
Then you won't play this game.
Yeah. No, that's it. That's right there is the key. It's like where a man finds himself in life. And sometimes just a man being able to command his own way. It's not that a man won't appreciate the assistance or help from a woman, but it's something about when a man can do it himself. It makes the woman's presence in his world a much needed bonus. It's not necessarily because that if he needs her in his world, then he's going to continue to be insecure because if he's threatened by if she's not there. So if he can be self-sufficient and then have this woman that's just like this marvelous bonus to his life, that's an ideal world to any man. Especially like you said, you're spot on. It's so many of us. I observe so many men all the time who do so many things for the affirming effect of a woman. They don't even do it for themselves. They do it for women. They go out here and buy these cars, get these rim chains, clothes. All of these things is for a woman's approval to help boost his lower self-esteem. So you're absolutely right. So yeah. All right. So the next one, this gets a little sticky. This next one is why do black men date and marry outside of their race? You want to go first, Bruce? Oh God.
Black men date outside of their race because number one, we have been duped by principles of white supremacy. What I was saying about our self-esteem being our self-esteem is compromised because we live in a country that has oppressed us. But that goes way down the rabbit hole. On the other hand, yeah, that's a deep conversation. But on the other hand, to put it plainly, black men are sick of black women's attitudes. Her attitude, her combativeness. We might as well stir it up, Charles. You know, I can't be good, but only for a few minutes at a time. So it's your attitude, your posture.
Wow.
And to deal, and you know, dealing with a woman, I want a black woman, of course, but dealing with a woman outside your race, their dispositions are different because they haven't faced the things we faced in this country. So of course their dispositions are easygoing. They're not as hostile. They're more. They've been raised to kind of serve, in a sense, because they sneaky too, but to kind of serve their man in a sense, with easygoing and not hostility. And that's a challenge for us as men, black men.
Wow. So Bruce, we were very closely aligned on that because some of the notes I had there, I said some men feel they don't get the same type of championing from their own race of women. They feel like the champion comes differently from outside the race. And this is what I've heard from people that I personally know that have dated and married outside the race. There's also, it's different accountability measures. Black women is going to hold you to the plow. You know, black women are going to hold you to the plow. And it's not a bad thing at all. It's just that, but if you are a man that's not trying to confront that truth or not trying to see yourself in the mirror, because black women are great at showing the black man who he is or is not in that mirror. And so sometimes men would rather, in some cases, they're going to say, well, if I go over here, such and such, it makes me feel like a king all day, every day. She never makes me look at my reflection. She just tells me I'm great and you're a beautiful black man and that's it, right? And so it's kind of like a false sense of reality on one hand, but it's something you can live with on the other. So I think a lot of times people go with that for that reason. And, listen, like I said, black women apply pressure because they want great out of the black man. And so a lot of black men don't want that pressure. If they're honest, they can't deal with the pressure. So they kind of crumble up under that pressure and they make these alternative decisions. But, another part that we have to understand is a black woman and men, we're all sisters and brothers. So we know one another's struggles. We know all about one another. So a lot of times it is a thing of it's an attempt to reinvent your reality. So if I go over here, they look at me totally different. Now all of the races aren't ignorant to what you said about our history. Our history is our history. Everybody knows it, right? But when you go into this different race, you're telling your different narrative story your own way, as opposed to, if you with your sister, she already know your stuff. You can't pull the wool over her. She already knows where you come from, what was happening in that neighborhood you grew up in, all those things. So you got to kind of be on the level or not with her. So I think a lot of times we as black men, if we're honest, we make these alternative choices. I'm not going to say that it's never for just love, because I'm sure there's an exception to all rules where people might find somebody that just worked for them regardless of their color. But a lot of times, more times than not, black men make conscious decisions to date outside the race. And I say conscious because I don't care how in love you fall in love with someone, you know that there is a certain lifestyle change and a stigma that comes with choosing outside your race, whether we want to say it or not. It really is. When we choose outside of our race, you go to places, you walk up, people looking at you funny. You got to learn to deal with that. Maybe if you're a decent looking guy and you with somebody else, another race, the women, if you go into a restaurant with a group of black women sitting there, they're going to give you the look, so there's a whole lifestyle adjustment that comes with making that choice. So that's why I say men consciously make decisions like that. You just don't fall in love and just ends up married. It's a conscious lifestyle choice. So that's a heavy one. It would have been nice if we had someone that could really speak to that have been in it. I mean, because me and Bruce can say all day that we may have dated someone in and out of our race, color, and to be quite honest, a lot of men have done it that are black men, but they have not done it for the reasons that you may have thought they've done it for. They've done it for just testing the waters, just building their repertoire of palate choices and such. But make no mistake about it, they still love the soul food, if you get my drift. So that's that with that part. But it's kind of a thing where it's just like, wow, it's one of them touchy things, but it happens. People do it. People make the choices. And I think it's a rough thing because women feel like, hey, what's wrong with me? I'm educated. I'm beautiful. I'm a great mom, if you have children or not. So why do our men continue to jump ship and go over here when we are sitting right here? I think Bruce had to go. When we're sitting right here. So yeah, that's a tough situation. Now, let me read some of these comments. Katrina says, interesting, as a black woman speaks up, she's angry, either an attitude. Other races of women speak up, and they're viewed as merely assertive. That's true, but because you know what, Katrina, women will go off regardless of which race regardless of their race. Women will tell you off and give you the business with whichever color they are. I think the thing with black women is because they know the black man, they can penetrate him a lot easier than other races. They know the things to get to the core of his fabric to set him ablaze or to break him down, so to speak. Whereas a lot of races, men will listen and be like, oh, you don't know my struggle, so how you gonna tell me about me? But she does, so she can tell you about you. So it makes that kind of difference there. And then Katrina says, other than a black man, only a black woman understands the plight of a black man. We want to see you win and want to be a part of your building, encouraging you and honoring you for the warrior king you in. Great, that's great. But a lot of times, Katrina, that's not what we. That sounds good. Tell them that sounds good, Bruce. That's not always our story. That's not always how we're fed that though. That sounds great. Yeah.
So, I think a lot of times
the last final. Go ahead, Bruce. Go ahead.
I think a lot of times some black men are so tired internally that they will fall in love with the illusion what their ethnicity would create for him. So I would say, and this may sound a little ignorant. It may sound a little ignorant. However, there are women from other ethnicities that, even though all ethnicities have the same nature, all women will cuss you out and get on your nerves. Yes. However,
absolutely,
there is an easier path to the delusion of peace with women outside of our race. They create spaces of peace because they don't have the same types of hostility. There's an inbred hostility and rejection and just attitude with us as black people. We can identify it in a second. We can see it in another person in a second because that same poison is in us. Yeah. It's been placed in us that they don't have. They may have issues from their childhood and stuff like that, like everyone does, but that particular poison, they don't have. And it creates an illusion of peace for us. Yeah, Paul, I think I'm going to slide to you for that.
Man, that right there was a key point. But you're right. If she and that's, to be honest, that's where most of us black men, when we make these choices to step aside from our queens, is we fail to think, we fail to realize that what you're like, that woman over there is not giving you what you quote unquote don't want to hear on the side of your sister, because she has an entirely different experience. And because she's not filled with that vitriol, or sometimes or regret or resentment of some of the things and the many things that we have dragged our women through down through the years, she don't have that same testimony. So she's going to treat you like, oh, whatever you want, honey, whatever you need, all of those things, because she's not even fathoming your real truth. So that's why I think we get sometimes lured into that. But again, let me be clear: it's not to say everyone who chooses a person outside of our race is a bad relationship. I know some people who have made some choices, and seemingly it's a good choice. Seemingly, so that's all I can say. But it's to each his own, right? It's to each his own. Trisha says, but other race, they get tired and they will take you all the way down. Yeah, but you know what, Trisha? In this day and time, all the way down looks the same, because we get dragged. I've seen the black man get dragged right on social media the same way the white women taking his money. He's still, I mean, to be honest, yeah, she gonna go for the juggler and try to take all his money. But to me, I look at someone trying to destroy me financially and destroy my life, period. It's no difference. You destroying me either way. It's just bad. So I think, yeah, I mean, but that is a good point. And an important point to also bring out is, a lot of times what I would always want to ask people is, and this is just a question I always wanted to have asked Bruce, is because I see many races cultivate with our black men. It could be Indian, black, all Asian, all sorts. And what I used to always want to know, y'all seen all the movies, you've seen the Sounders, the Roots, you've seen all of these things, Black what is it, Black Lives Matter. We've seen all of our looting. You've seen all of the dogma that sometimes follows the black race, right? So what I always want to know is, what do you really want with the black man? If you honestly know this is his story, this is his testimony, what do you really want with him? Because to be honest, when it gets down to trouble, you don't want his trouble. You just want his beauty, and you want his status, you want his swagger, you want his sexuality. But that's shallow, right? That's shallow. But at the end of the day, yeah, he's a black man and he may appear to be supreme intimately and all these things. And so, yeah, that's something that a woman could enjoy, period, regardless of her color. But if you're not there, if you can't say you're choosing someone good, bad, or indifferent, simply because you are you and I'm in love with your heart of who you are, then I would just always question that. But I think a lot of people don't think about that. A lot of our athletes, a lot of our upper echelon, so to speak, black males, it always makes me wonder when I see that. It's like, it seems like when we get to a certain level as a black man, we have to choose another color. And I just don't understand. It's like, it makes you wonder, do we not have educated black women? Do we not have women that can run a checkbook? Do we not have black women that can run a house, raise children? Like, what skips? What happens that skips from down here? But heck, Bruce, we can't even say that, because nowadays you'll see Nuck on the corner. He got a Becky that do everything for him, co-signing, buy him car, bought him a place to live, everything. So I guess it's kind of a difficult run of the gambit, but yeah, it's something for sure. All right. So last but not least, all right. The last question is, why don't most black men have their stuff together? Why don't most black men have their stuff together? So I'll say this really quickly. And I said this a long time ago to someone that asked a similar question of this. First, let me preface it by saying, by no stretch of the imagination is this an excuse, but it is an important fact. Black men are the only race of men who has literally been obliterated in front of his woman and his child. He has been, black men have been beaten in front of their child and their wife, their woman, their mother, whomever. We've had the women have been taken and raped and sexually handled by the oppressors at one point or time. And I'm saying that, I'm bringing that forward to say, I still believe to this very day, those rippling effects of way back then have still continued down through generations and have crippled the mindset of many black men. And I think although we are miles from being over, running from somebody in the jungle and all those things, at the end of the day, that mindset of feeling like you aren't enough or you can't get it together or the man is in the way and, oh, they holding me down, but I have this, that, and the other. And it's so many of us that are crippled. And so it's like we are here presently. We look good. We can go get a haircut. We can do this, that, and the other. But underneath all of that is layers of dysfunctional. And this is what I also would always say. And here's another ugly truth, women. Some men are in the position they're in to be not having themselves together because a lot of women have held it together for them. They have been coddled, enabled for years. You've had men who have not had to do one thing but look pretty and perform, and she took care of everything else for years. This has been going on for years. So it's like we have created, in some cases, we've created these monsters that turn us off. Turn us off because they show up smiling in your face, but don't have a pot to piss in to help you grow and build anything with. And I'm not entirely putting this on women, but this is what I would like to say. A lot of women want first lady treatment from the last man. Hear what I say? A lot of women want first lady treatment from the last man. I say the last man because although the black man has ascended to many places of greatness, but theoretically, he is the last man by the way he has been treated, by the way he has been looked upon, the way it's like you have no idea unless you are a black man how hard it is to jump through the many loops in life, just simply trying to be normal, period. I mean, I can tell you, Bruce, many a times in corporate America, I've showed up the only professional at my level to only have to be looked upon weird. You're always treated like the stranger over in the corner because you're not black. I mean, because you're not their color. So it's almost like you got to be 2 and 3 times smarter than the next person to even get an ounce of respect. You know what I'm saying? It's like to get that, you gotta, and it's like, let's just say you out looking for, like, I remember when I moved and when I relocated, and sometimes you communicated with people trying to find a place to live, and you're only communicating over the text or email. And when you show up in person, they're giving you okay, you're a black person, but let's see what kind of black person. And you got to go through all that stigma. So it's a lot. Like, navigating life as a black man is not easy. But, again, no excuses. But I just want you to understand, the last man is what I say. The Bible tells us the last shall be first and the first shall be last. So this is why we see black men ascending in greatness today. But make no mistake about it, theoretically, the way the black man has been positioned since the beginning of time, he has been positioned to be the last man. But we expect first from him. So it's not that he can't give you first, but the most important thing that you need to get from a black man is understanding All we ask is try to understand us. If you try to understand us, ask questions, you can get those things, you can get to those levels you want to get to. But you got to ask those questions and create a safe space. A lot of men are dealing with all sorts of brokenness. Like I said, I've already mentioned the crippledness of having to men having to witness this back all the way in slavery in those days where they had to witness being humiliated in front of the people and the women that they wanted to be the head of and lead and be an example. So they have, imagine being humiliated, and then that same story being circled down to the grandpa told his son told his son. So this thing has carried on and carried on and carried on, and it's been a stigma in the mentality of many men. I see it all the time. And when I talk to certain people, especially in the South, you talk to certain men, they sound like they stuck. Like, oftentimes I go to the barbershop, I talk to guys, I may start talking about a whole different conversation, and they look at me like I got two heads because I have a different experience. But a lot of them sometimes are literally still stuck. So it's not an easy navigation as a Black man. But if you ask men questions, ask them, but while asking him, the science is don't ask him looking like you're trying to judge him and cut him off the minute he gives you his truth. But ask him, how did he arrive where he is? And baby, what can I do to help you get out of it? That goes miles and miles for men. But instead of being all like, oh, you just a buster, you not no boss, go on, that's going to just diminish him further and send him off worse to the next woman. So if you find him someone of value and someone you care about, just simply try to gain an understanding. Because I think the biggest problem between Black women and Black men today is we are largely misunderstood of one another as much as we think we got it understood. We don't understand what really makes one another tick and what really works for each other. We have women who think they know how men are. We got women telling men how he acts, and we got men telling women how she acts. And so everybody needs to speak for themselves and own up to their own things. And look, just try to come to the table of reasoning together and just have those conversations. And to the lady who put these questions out there, when I first saw them, I was a little hesitant because I was like, oh, this seemed like a Black man bash. But it's your questions, and I hope I was able to give you some insight on them. But these are just things that these things that you mentioned, you put Black in front of them, but they go across the board for all men. But I chose to just speak on the Black part of it because I figured, hey, I'm a Black man. I have an experience. I've been through a lot of these things that we were just talking about, so I can give some insight. And Bruce was able to add some insight as well. What you got a little bit on that last part, Bruce? I've got to let you tag in on that part.
So I would encourage every woman that's listening and watching to Google the Willie Lynch letters. Not just the Willie Lynch letter, but the Willie Lynch letters. And the subdivision in those letters have titles like How to Make a Nigger Marriage. Listen to it, read it, and you will understand the epigenetics. Epigenetics is how some trauma has been passed down through the genes from generation to generation. So there has been a group of people who intend, not intended, they intend to not allow the Black man to come into his God-given rights as a human being. From the end of slavery, from the end of the civil rights movement and all that kind of stuff, we owned 1/2 of 1%, 1/2 of 1% of America's wealth. It is now 2023. We got all these millionaires and billionaires, but as an ethnicity, as a race, we still own only 1/2 of 1% of America's wealth. And that is by design. So look at so Google the Willie Lynch letters and read it, and then those answers will come to you. You'll see the psychological conditioning that they put us through as a people.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's it.
Good stuff. Yeah. So yeah, we appreciate you all like tuning in as we this was really an impromptu show today. But you know, this is nostalgic because Bruce and I used to do these things all the time. So I figured this was a good segue to kind of just add some insight on these questions. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. And like I said, stay tuned as we do these random things. They come and go. And as usual, you know, every Thursday, 4:30 Central Standard Time, we kick off the Unique Perspectives Love Talk Radio. Thanks again, my brother Bruce. I'll be in touch, sir. Thanks everybody for looking. All right. Thank you.